Hello and welcome to a broadcast produced by Friends of Terry Virgil. I'm Terry Virgil, your host and producer of this program. And today's episode is Bureaucrats and gun-hating enthusiasts at the United Nations. It's kind of an alarming thing to hear about that they want to go into the United Nations. And I'm going to put it this way. We know who the bureaucrats are. One of them is Hillary Clinton. The other one is Barack Obama, and the other one is Secretary of State John Kerry. They hate guns. They hate everything that deals with small arms. This is talking about small arms now. I'm not talking about assault rifles or anything like that. And let me read some of this that I got. The bureaucrats and the gun haters enthusiasts at the United Nations are beginning another meeting in New York aimed to advance their goal on gun control agenda. So it is happening right now, people, and those who just didn't want to listen and those who believe in the freedom and liberty of this nation and believe in the U.S. Constitution Amendment 2, well, guess what? You got all those type of people, and those people there probably could and would find a way to stop you from having and to owning any guns. And like I said, it's about small arms. It wasn't about assault rifles like machine guns and bazookas and rocket launchers that you could have, but it was or they're shoulder fired rockets actually. I know my weaponry pretty well, so and I do know how to use just about any weapon out there myself. I've been trained to do that in the military, so. But anyways, these people are really trying to end, and they are trying to make it a worldwide end of small arms use. We know that Mr. Obama and Hillary Clinton and Secretary of State John Kerry hate violence, which every human being should hate violence. We know that even I'm against violence and I'm against going to war because people don't need to go to war over these silly things like the occult group called it Islamic State of Muslims or ISIS or the Taliban or Al Qaeda or Boko Haram, or however you pronounce it. You don't need to allow groups as those that belong to the Islamic State of Muslims that hold their own assault rifles and stuff like that. I don't believe in war. Of course, the whole Quran speaks about going to war, speaks about violence. So, if anybody says that's a peaceful organization, read the Quran, please. It's in there. It's in 109 places in the Quran that speaks about that. So, and that's about all we need to put in on that one because when you got the truth on your side, you can't deny it. And let's speak about small arms. Small arms are used in armed robbery and stuff like that, or even last-minute defense weapons. And talk about those small arms. A lot of times you hear about people robbing banks. They use pistols and stuff like that. They may use an assault rifle. Or someone that wants to carjack you, they'll use a small pistol. And I'm going to give you a little definition of just about how far a pistol is very accurate. You may be lucky to get accuracy at about 100 yards. Maybe. 50 yards at most is their real accuracy. After that, they just start falling to the earth. So they're used for close range combat and close range assault. So if you're thinking of disarming a person with a pistol, you could do it with a rifle that shoots a lot farther, a lot more accurate than a pistol. So if that's what they're trying to eliminate. Of course, they're going to have to also eliminate children's toys. They're also going to have to see about eliminating even the idea of making it yourself. So, again, bureaucrats and gun-hating enthusiasts at the UN. What does that tell you? People like Hillary Clinton who hate guns totally. She's probably never used one in her life. She probably doesn't even know how to load it, and probably doesn't know how to take the safety off in order to fire it. Of course, we know that her husband was a coward when it came towards going into the military at the Vietnam War. He went over to England to hide out like a coward would. So that tells you that liberals and Democrats are all cowards because they follow them as leaders. So that tells you that every Democrat and liberal is a coward, is a hater, hates freedom and liberty. Anybody that goes up against and wants to see about banning small arms is a hater of freedom and liberty. They hate free. They think, oh, okay, we could get rid of the guns and then we'll be free. Wrong, people, because then you got government control. Go to China and see if you can own a gun. You can't. All weapons are owned by the government, and they're issued to the military. Go to North Korea, see if you can own a gun. You can't, because it's all owned by the government. The government owns everything. Now, small arms is a great way to protect yourself. I am one that would rather see a person walking down the street with a weapon in their, holstered weapon, not out of the holster, but holstered, in order to protect themselves. Let's put it this way. I would do it. I'd actually holster a weapon, let you see it, display it, and see if you're going to come up and do violence against me. I guarantee you it won't last very long, because you won't be able to defend. I would be able to defend myself with a holstered weapon. If Grandma was walking down the street and Grandma happens to be robbed, or anybody's grandmother in this case, wouldn't you want to see Grandma carrying a weapon just to defend herself? Or would you rather see her beaten to death or robbed by gunpoint? When you equalize the situation, usually the robber goes away, or the thief, or somebody like that. It's like I stated in one of my other episodes that dealt with women and why they get raped and why they get ogled and whistled at and everything else. Well, here's why. The same reason. They decide to wear clothing that will get that done to them. Stop it. That's all you have to do. No crime. Just stop it. Don't do anything. You could compare it to doing this way. A gun is really a safety tool that protects. It's not meant, and the only one that it really protects is the person behind that weapon. If someone came into my house wanting to rob me, I guarantee it they're going to find themselves with a little bit of surprise. And the surprise is you might not last to see your court date. Or you might be wounded enough and they're going to have to fix you up so you go to jail. Because you're inside my home. You're violating my home. It's the same thing in anybody's home. To protect yourself is the right idea. To give yourself the idea to come up with and to say that you have the rights, the right to defend yourself. There's not enough police force out there to stop every idiot out there with a weapon that wants to do harm. Those are the idiots. Now, you heard me say that gun control is wrong, and it is. It is. Because you have the Second Amendment that guarantees your freedom and liberty. Yes, it's mainly for the military to do. That's what the Second Amendment is really made for. But it's not a real individual right either. But yet it is an individual right to protect themselves. Now, I will say this much. I love to go hunting. And I love to go after wild game and to actually shoot at wild game and to be successful at my hunt. I like to go hunting. Therefore, I'm not using a gun to kill another human being. And I'm not out there to do any harm to anybody. That is common sense. We're getting out of the common sense range in 2016. We just had a demagogue get enough delegates for the Democratic Party. I should say it this way. It's the Liberal Democratic Party. She got enough. Matter of fact, the press and media and the White House were pushing for people to vote for her. I would say it's a rigged election right there. The poor guy that was running against Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, didn't even stand a chance from the beginning. But it's good that he got in this thing to bring out some points and some issues. And he is in favor of gun control because he is a liberal Democrat / socialist. It seems to me that every Communist Party and Socialist Party leader wants to control you by controlling any type of guns, small arms. It's called control, people. It's called Marxism. Marxist comes up with the idea that states that there should be no weapons at all out there. But the government is the only one that should in order to defend itself, in order to defend the government. Well, in the case of the United States of America, this happens to be a republic. So how do we have to fix this problem in order to defend itself? Well, we got to have a Second Amendment, U.S. Constitution Amendment 2, which does tell us that we have the right to bear arms. Bear arms against our enemies. We have many different enemies out there. We have the occult group, the Islamic State of Muslims. That's an enemy to the United States of America. It's an enemy to Israel. And it's an enemy to all Christians. All true believing Christians, I should say. And it's also an enemy to those who do not believe, but rather be atheists and agnostics. That's kind of interesting. Atheists and agnostics can also be killed by this group called the